This is an effort for me to find out how tall my trees are. It's a DJI Phantom Vision 2 version 3 to get all the odds and ends in the name. And a neighbor asked me how tall my trees are. And I told him an estimate, but I decided to find out. Unfortunately, this is a pretty windy day, so it also tests another thing that I've noticed about these craft, that if you rotate them around in the wind, they get confused about where the wind is coming from and take some time to readjust their position, which is explained more technically in an article that's in the links at the bottom of this video. So now I'm ascending from 0 AGL, and I had assumed that these trees were maybe 100, 120 feet tall, but I'm watching the altimeter on my remote, and at this point right here, right in here, the altitude of the trees, the height of the trees is actually just over 140 feet. And it's kind of windy up here. So this is kind of marginal conditions. I don't normally fly in the wind, but I thought I'd give it a try this one time just to see what sort of things happen. Now notice what happened here. See how the craft is moving back into an original position? I did a 360 just to look at the terrain, and that greatly confused the controller about the direction the wind is coming from, because the controller doesn't really know anything about wind. It only knows how much power it needs to apply to the motors to accomplish a given objective. And as you can see from the moving branches, the trees really are moving around. And each time I do a 360, each time I do a full rotation, the craft has to readjust itself in the air, which, by the way, is why it's not a good idea to fly on windy days unless you're pretty good at this. Because occasionally there's a dramatic movement as the craft tries to track what it believes the power for each motor it needs to be. Okay, now I'm going to look straight down and come straight down through the trees, now that I've accomplished my objective and I know how tall the trees are. And I'm taking it easy coming down because of the wind. I figured I might have to make some adjustments. And I didn't want to descend into a vortex ring either. Although what I've noticed about these craft is that they're not particularly susceptible to vortex ring, primarily because the controller's descent rate is limited. If you pull all the way back on the stick to descend as fast as you can, it won't descend that rapidly for two reasons. It doesn't want to crash into the ground, and also it doesn't want to get into vortex ring conditions. Okay, now I'm sort of adjusting and looking at the position before dropping it onto the ground. I might be doing more than I need to do here. This is the largest open spot on my land. My land is mostly trees. So for ascending above the trees, I choose this spot because it has the largest opening in the trees. Not very large, and on a windy day it's kind of dicey, because when you descend below the trees, the wind drops off abruptly and the controller has a problem with that also. And we're touching down. Didn't break anything on this trip. I know it's exciting to see things break on videos, but I haven't broken anything yet. Sorry, folks.